so I'm going to show you how I am going to modify the Hustler Trimstar. I've had this wooden plate on here for, well, quite a while, because I hold the blower on here and I wanted to make it more convenient so I don't have to keep going back and forth to the truck. And also I found out that there were two other benefits. Number one, I had additional weight on the front end so it doesn't pop up on steep hills. And also, because the tube is pointing that way, it allows me to have awesome air conditioning when it's super hot and humid out here. So I built this out of wood just to make sure, kind of work the kinks and the bugs out of it to make sure I was gonna be able to do it and like it, and it was fine. So I'm going to be removing that, and we're going to be making this out of, this is 10 gauge plate. So this is about, it's a little thicker than 1/8 inch plate. That's the same size as this. So we're going to have to do a little bit of welding, and I'm going to show you the whole process. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to remove these 4 bolts, take this off, and I'm going to remove the trimmer holder right here, because my new design, I'm actually going to mount the trimmer holder to this plate, so it will eliminate that. I'm going to make it out of black iron. Threaded rod is good to use for things, but it's very brittle, and I've broken this too many times hitting branches and stuff, and just from the vibration of it, and it keeps getting a little loose like this. So I'm going to address that, but I'm going to go ahead and remove this and let you see what's looking like next. All right, taking the bolts out, and this pops off. This is just 1/4 inch plywood. It's the same plywood that I use on the back of the box truck ramps originally. And I've got my heat shield. I'll have to remake all that, but yeah, it works good. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this here trimmer holder. All right, so the plate's going to fit like that. Here, I am going to radius this, cut that off, and make it so it's smoother, because you don't, you know, that's pretty darn sharp right there. But I'm going to take the Trimstar piece that I had, or that was on here originally, because I need to mark exactly where I want my holes. All right, so I've got everything laid out. I've got the plate here, and I've got it exact distance. I've got it even here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill the holes where the bolts will go through in the 4 areas there. I'm not going to bore you with watching me drill holes, but that's what I'm doing. All right, so I got the holes drilled. I ended up having to use 1/2 inch holes for all of them into the plate, because there is a little variance. The original plate had a slot right there, so 1/2 inch gives me just enough wiggle room, and these barely fit, but I mean, this thing is solid. It's like a, so all right, what I'll do now is I think I'll work on the radius last. I need to mount the blower here and see where I need to put my hole for the peg that goes right here. I'm not going to use these 2 right here, because I'm going to weld me up a hook system, but this peg indexed the bottom of the blower, so it was real easy to put it on there, so I'm going to do that next. All right, so I've got my 3/8 inch peg here. I just put it's got a piece of 3/8 vinyl tube that locates the bottom of the, let me show you what it's actually going in. You can see it's like a honeycomb. Hopefully you can see that underneath there. So it's real easy just to drop it right there, and it will not slide around very much. So that works good. The next thing I need to do is I'm going to put, for the blower, go right there. Like that, right? Now, on the other system, I had a bungee cord, had 2 hooks. It takes too much time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically build me a little frame right here, probably out of rebar, and I like to try to repurpose stuff that I already have, but I don't think I have what I need. So just as a kind of a visual, there'll be a hook right here, okay? It's not going to hold it off, but it'll be enough to where I won't have to use the bungee anymore. And obviously this is too long this way. It needs to be, if this bend were right here. So I'm going to take a piece of, actually, you know what we'll use? We'll use some old lawnmower blades. That's good plate. And I'll just bolt that to this. I don't really want to weld anything to this, but that'll work fine. The hook that I'm going to use is probably going to be like this, like one of those hooks right there at Home Depot. Cheap, a couple bucks. But the hook is real, it has a short profile. So I'll take the hook, I'm going to build me a little rebar frame, like an A-frame. And yeah, I have it in my mind how I want to do it, but I'm going to go, I don't have any rebar, I don't think. Let me look around and see what I have. Alright, so I went and picked up some supplies from Home Depot. I got this hook, and I got a 1/4 foot piece of rebar. This is 1/2 inch thick, and I got a 1 1/4 inch 4-foot piece of angle iron. I don't need 4 feet for this. I do have some angle iron somewhere, but I can't find it, so I just went and got another piece. So I'm going to cut about a foot. It's probably going to be about a 1 foot piece of angle iron. This spread right here is about 11 inches from here to here. So I'll probably make it about a foot. So it doesn't need to be all the way to the end anyway. And then what I'll do is I'm going to tack weld this here, and then I'll tack weld it there and there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a piece of plate out that will allow me to weld on the inside here to match up with this. I'm just going to take a lawnmower blade, we're going to cut it, we're going to weld it to this side over here, and that'll allow me to have something to bolt the bracket to. So I think it'll work well. Alright, so that's basically, I've got it laid on the ground. That's how it's going to look when it's welded in place. I have my spacing. I went ahead and cut this 13 inches, and I've got my rebar set almost maybe 11 inches plus maybe an eighth far apart here. And then I'll tack weld it there, and we'll weld a plate on that side right there. Okay, so I didn't feel you guys wanted to see me trying to be measuring this hole and that hole, but let me just tell you where we're at right now. So I got the plate completely indexed and drilled. I made my bracket. I'll show you how that works as soon as this dries. It's got the hook on the top, the double hook. So I told you guys at the beginning of the video that I was going to have a system to hold the trimmer, and this is what I came up with. It's going to be a piece of black iron pipe, flange that fits right there on those 4 holes. This will just screw in, and this will cradle the trimmer like that. So I think that'll work good. I am going to put some clamps here and here so that this can only fit in and on that one direction, in that one spot. That will keep the trimmer from moving this way or from potentially getting here and rolling over. Hasn't been a big problem, but I figured this way it'll be permanent and it won't happen again. So I just painted this with the Rust-Oleum high performance paint, and we'll let that dry. I cleaned it with acetone before I did that. Now I will have to tell you guys that I am not a stick welder. In fact, this is the first time I've ever used a stick welder. I'm kind of wishing I'd used my MIG welder. It would have been a lot faster. But I wanted to try it. So I'm pretty good at gas welding, which is oxygen and acetylene. This is not really what you want to use gas welding on. But basically on this, I put a little box right here. This is just a mower blade I cut, and then I welded it there and there, and then I put this flange right here. I'm not happy with these screws that I have in here, so I'm probably going to use bolts that go all the way through. But you know, this thing is only supposed to support the trimmer. I mean, I'm sorry, the blower. So, but I'm going to let this stuff dry, and I'm going to put it all together and let you see everything the way it's supposed to go. And hopefully you didn't miss me drilling and undrilling and measuring and grinding, because I had to go in and out. It's taken me hours. I took a lot of breaks. It's very hot in here, and so anyway, I had problems with the amperage of the welder and the arc and all that. So like I said, I could have done this probably in half the time if I'd used my MIG welder, but it's all right. It was fun. So let me get this together and we'll come back and show you the final product. All right, let me show you guys where I am at. I'm almost done. So I've got the plate on. I've painted the plate. I've got all the hardware on. I've got the blower support mounted on the plate with bolts. I got a piece of aluminum and pop riveted. This is almost its final form, but it's going to be in a little bit different shape. I am waiting. I've ordered some heat shielding that goes on the inside, which I will attach, and then I'm going to bend this over just a little bit more. I've got my trimmer support here, and let me show you what I did. One here, there are 2 brackets, just radiator clamps, which indexes like that, so it can't go forward or backwards anymore, and that will allow it to perfectly sit in the cradle back here. One of the problems I had with the old style is that with the hook, this would tend to slide like this, and sometimes it would roll over, but this way it's not going to roll over. Now, one thing I don't like is that this is really shallow, and it is possible that this could bump out a little bit. So temporarily, I'm just going to have a bungee. I don't want bungees. What I probably will end up doing is I will get a U-bolt and bend it over so that I have to put the trimmer into the side and then down, and that way if it bounces up and down, it's not going to pop out. That was one of the main complaints with the last one, but this is much more stable, and it's almost level instead of down a little bit. So I'll just see if I can show you. It's super hot out here, but I'm not complaining. So the blower goes on like it did before. Just put it right here. and sits on the peg like that. And then this goes right there, just like that, and this has plenty of room. There's plenty of, whoops. There's plenty of room here. This is an absolute must. This right here is actual heat shielding. It's aluminum, but it's super fragile. And I wanted something that was more permanent. So when I get the heat shielding on the back here, I will bend this over much further. But it'll work just fine. But yeah, so I'm gonna put this in the truck because I'm done with this right now, but I'm gonna show you. Whoops. One of my requirements when I built this was I wanted this to support this. This took the place of the bungee. It's really not sitting up off the, you can see it's not sitting off the plate at all. But it's got enough support where it won't slide back or forth. It'll move around just a little bit, but that's fine. The other one did like that. And I'm very excited about this. As I told you guys before, the problem with the threaded rod, like this style right here, is that the threaded rod will snap occasionally because it's so brittle. So I am going to probably do the plate like this, but there's no way I can put the blower, to mount the blower on there, or I may figure out another way. I may put a small plate here and use the black iron pipe. But this is just a 3/4 inch flange. This is a 3/4 inch piece of black iron pipe. I think this is 12 inches. And I took a 1 inch piece of black iron pipe and sliced it in half and welded it to this. So this is very, very stable. So that works out good. The only thing that as soon as I get the heat shielding for inside here, then I'll probably, I'm not sure how I'm going to attach it, but, and I do need to get a couple more rivets in here. There's only 3 in there, that's all I had, but it holds fine. And then I may, when I bend this over a little bit, may attach it to one of these rails here, just so it doesn't move around like that. But the other one flopped around way worse than that, and that's just aluminum. The other one was. So, but yeah, this is very stable. And I also designed this if you got a stand on it. Okay, like sometimes I'll have to move this mower up to a gate to reach over to unlock it. This is more than adequate to hold probably a 400-pound guy. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. And this right here is, it's an ugly weld, but it's very strong. I went ahead and did through bolts instead of sheet metal tapping screws. And these 2 pieces of plate right here are just I think that one even still says gold hybrid. This is just pieces of mower blade that I had. These are they're a 1/4 inch, almost 1/4 inch steel. So, and they're very hard. So good. I thought I was going to paint this yellow, but I think I'm going to leave it black. So tell me what you guys think. If you got any suggestions or ideas, this is really going to be called my all-in-one mowing system. And in the summer, the absolute best part of this is that I can be mowing and have this blower tube blowing maybe just above idle, and it makes 1,000% difference in the amount of heat that you feel on days like this when it's just super sunny. So tell me what you guys think, and if you have any other suggestions, let me have them. You know, this is, if you see something here that maybe I'm missing, feel free to put it in the comments. Probably this is, I'll just have to see how it works, but it works so well with the wooden plank that I had down, so I think this will work out a little bit better, but we'll see. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video.